Good evening. Tonight's story is one of Aesop's fables, A Dog and a Shadow. As a dog was crossing a river with a morsel of good flesh in his mouth, he saw, as he thought, another dog under the water, upon the very same adventure. He never considered that the one was only the image of the other, but out of a greediness to get both, he chops at the shadow and loses the substance. The moral: all covet, all lose, which may serve for a reproof to those that govern their lives by fancy and appetite, without consulting the honor and justice of the case. The reflection: this is the case of unreasonable and insatiable desires, as in love, ambition, and the like, where people are still reaching at more and more till they lose all in the conclusion. There are more meanings of substance and shadow, of mistaking one for the other, and losing all by chopping at more, than the bare sense and letter of the dog, the flesh, and the image, here in the fable. Under these heads are comprehended all inordinate desires, vain hopes, and miserable disappointments. What shall we say of those who spend their days in gaping after court favors or preferments, servile flatteries, and slavish attendance, that live and entertain themselves upon blessings and vision? For fair words and promises are no more than empty appearances. What is all this but sacrificing a man's honor, integrity, liberty, reason, body, soul, fortune, and all, for shadows? We place our trust in things that have no being, disorder our minds, discompose our thoughts, entangle our estates, and sell ourselves, in one word, for bubbles. How wretched is the man that does not know when he's well, but passes away the peace and comfort of his life for the gratifying of fantastical appetite or humor. Nay, and he misses his aim, even in that too, while he squanders away his interest, and forfeits his discretion in the pursuit of one vanity after another. Ambition is a ladder that reaches from heaven to earth, and the first round is but many inches in a man's way towards the mountain of all the rest. He's never well till he's at the top, and when he can go no higher, he must either hang in the air or fall. For in this case he has nothing above him to aspire to, nor any foothold left him to come down by. Every man has what's sufficient at hand, and in catching at more than he can carry away, he loses what he had. Now there's ingratitude as well as disappointment in all these rambling and extravagant motions. Beside, that avarice is always beggarly, for he that wants has as good as nothing. The desire of more and more rises by a natural gradation to most, and after that, to all, till in the conclusion we find ourselves sick and weary of all that's possible to be had, solicitous for something else, and then, when we have spent our days in the quest for the meanest things, and at the feet of the worst of men, we find at the bottom of the account that all the enjoyments under the sun are not worth struggling for. What can be vainer now than to lavish out our lives and fortunes in the search and purchase of trifles, and at the same time to lie carking for the unprofitable goods of this world, and in a restless anxiety of thought for what's to come? The folly, in fine, of these vexations and frivolous pursuits shows itself in all the transports of our wild and ungoverned affections. Here is further set forth in this emblem all the fabulous torments of hell, even above ground. Men who are tainted with this appetite are ready to die of thirst, with tantulas, and the water running at their very lips. They are condemned, with the sisters, to the filling of the tubs and holes in them, which is but a lively figure of so much labor spent in vain upon the gratifying of unreasonable desires. What's a man's contending with insuperable difficulties but the rolling of Sisyphus' stones up the hill, which is sure beforehand to return upon him again. What's an eternal circulation of the same things, as well as the same steps, without advancing 1 inch of ground towards his journey's end, but Ixion in the wheel, and all this while the cares and horrors of his heart, like the vulture that's day and night quarrying upon Prometheus's liver. But after all that's said upon this subject of our mistake and punishment, the great nicety will lie in rightly distinguishing between the substance and the shadow, and in what degree of preference the one stands to the other. Now this must be, according to Epictetus's distribution of matters, into what we have in our power, and what not, and in placing things honest and necessary before other subordinate satisfactions. Aesop's dog here was in the possession of a very good breakfast, and he knew very well that he had it in his mouth, but still, either out of levity, curiosity, or greediness, he must be chopping at something else, that he neither wanted nor understood, till he lost all for a shadow, that is to say, for just nothing at all. And that is A Dog and a Shadow from Aesop's Fables. Good night, everybody.